ॐ विश्वं दर्पणदृश्यमाननगरी तुल्यन्निजान्तर्गतं पश्यन्नात्मनि मायया बहिरिवोद्भूतं यथा निद्रया यः साक्षात् कुरुते प्रबोधसमये स्वात्मानमेवाद्वयं तस्मै श्रीगुरुमूर्तये नमः इदं श्रीदक्षिणामूर्तये बीजस्यान्तरिवाङ्कुरो जगदिदं प्राङ्निर्विकल्पं पुनः मायाकल्पितदेशकालकलना वैचित्रचित्रीकृतं मायावीव विजृम्भयत्यपि महायोगीव यस्वेच्छया तस्मै श्रीगुरुमूर्तये नमः इदं श्रीदक्षिणामूर्तये तस्मै श्रीगुरुमूर्तये नमः इदं श्रीदक्षिणामूर्तये ॐ सहना भवतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यङ्करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै ॐ शान्तिः 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 सदाशिवसमारम्भां शङ्कराचार्यमध्यमाम् अस्मदाचार्यपर्यन्तां वन्दे गुरुपरम्पराम् ॐ भद्रं कर्णेभिः शृणुयामदेवाः भद्रं पश्येमाक्षभिर्यजत्राः स्थिरैरङ्गैः स्तुष्टुवागुंसस्तनूभिः व्यशेमदेवहितं यदायुः स्वस्ति न इन्द्रो वृद्धश्रवाः स्वस्ति नः पूषा विश्ववेदाः स्वस्ति नस्तार्क्ष्यो अरिष्टनेमिः स्वस्ति नो बृहस्पतिर्दधातु ॐ शान्तिः 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 सेवेंथ मंत्र नान्तःप्रज्ञं न बहिष्प्रज्ञं नोभयतः प्रज्ञं न प्रज्ञानघनं न प्रज्ञं नाप्रज्ञम् अदृष्टम् अव्यवहार्यमग्राह्यमलक्षणम् अचिन्त्यम् अव्यपदेश्यमेकात्मप्रत्ययसारं प्रपञ्चोपशमं शान्तं शिवमद्वैतं चतुर्थं मन्यन्ते स आत्मा स विज्ञेयः. Page 51 in Bhashyam, fourth line, third line, fourth, yeah. न अंतःप्रज्ञमिति तैजस प्रतिषेधः and न बहिष्प्रज्ञमिति विश्व प्रतिषेधः. न उभयतः प्रज्ञ इति जाग्रत स्वप्नयोः अंतरालवस्था प्रतिषेधः. न प्रज्ञान घनमिति सुषुप्तावस्था प्रतिषेधः. बीज भाव अविवेक रूपत्वात्. न प्रज्ञम इति युगपत् सर्वविषय प्रज्ञातृत्व प्रतिषेधः. न अप्रज्ञम इति अचैतन्य प्रतिषेधः. So we were seeing that everyone who takes oneself to be either a waker, dreamer, deep sleeper, etc., they are negated or in between the waking and the dream. And also there are other, Urmilaji sent me, there are other Ubhayata Prajnam also, and that is, she says, yeah, I don't know, so I have kept it somewhere. There are other states also, and if I find, I will. Yeah. She says in Ubhayata Prajnam, there is a narcolepsy in which sleep interferes, it comes in the middle of the wakefulness or wakefulness, yeah. So that is also Ubhayata Prajnam. And there is another one which is also Ubhayata Prajnam that she calls it as a REM behavior disorder, which is known as RBD. I don't know what it means. Is when the dream state in the dream state there are features of a wakefulness. Like I think she may be referring to the person basically, he was sleeping and starts walking around. So this kind of a thing, I think so. That is the thing, and so this kind of a Ubaita Prajna also, that is also negated. Or we have to negate everything. Or MPDs we have discussed also, but that is also negated. Ubaita Prajna. And then na prajnana ghanam. So basically, person, why you are negating? Because I am not that. They are changing. I am changeless consciousness. We will seeing that. So which is, I mean, the Atma is recognized as a changeless consciousness, which you are able to recognize immediately. I will talk to you. So na prajnam, prajnana ghanam. I am sorry. So this is Shushupta Avastha Vachinna Chaitanyam. Patisheda also is done. And well, then Bhashakara says further, न प्रज्ञमिति युगपत् सर्वविषय प्रज्ञातृत्व प्रतिषेधः. न प्रज्ञम मीन्स सर्वज्ञम इति युगपत्, युगपत् सर्वविषय प्रज्ञातृत्व, द नोवरहुड प्रज्ञातृत्व, सर्वविषय, knowerhood for everything, yugapat, simultaneously, that is sarvajnatvam, that is Ishvara, that is also negated. Where is it negated? It has been described in the sixth mantra. You know that Trutiya Sthanam, right? In Trutiya Sthanam, Prajna is equated with the Ishvara. First Prajna was negated, right? And then Ishvara was negated in the sixth mantra. And so, which is a Karana for the Karya, both. Anyway, so that is also here negated. Ishvaratvam is negated. So, the sthani, etc., which is there, Atma is there in all, pervading everything, totally pervading everything. But Atma is taken as a waker, etc., that is negated. Not a waker is negated, not dreamer. We cannot negate it. It's an experience of everyone. So, I am not a waker. Who says? Waker says, right now, I am not a waker. So, waker is not negated. I am not a waker means Atma basically is just a consciousness. By nature, there is no wakerhood in consciousness. And therefore, I am waker, that kind of an understanding, which is a misunderstanding, is negated, which is born of ignorance, etc. So, Ishvara negation is because it is again that Sarvajnatvam, Sarveshwaratvam, etc., Sarvavetrutam, etc. All this is Upadhi Dharma. Through Maya alone, it is these are the dharmas, which Maya, of course, is non-separate from the Brahman, and which is Mithya, and therefore, well, this is definitely negative. Atma with a particular status is negative. And then na aprajnam iti achaitanya pratishedaha. Okay, then all waker consciousness, no. Dreamer consciousness, no. Sleeper consciousness, no. Sarvajnatva, etc. Well, no. Ishvara consciousness, no. Then all your ubhayata prajnam, in between consciousness, no. Well, then there is no consciousness at all. This Turiya is no consciousness. Aprajnam. Could you follow? Turiya is not a waker consciousness. Turiya is not a dreamer consciousness. Turiya is not a deep sleeper consciousness. Turiya is not in between consciousness. Turiya is not even Ishvara consciousness. What is left then? Nothing is left. Turiya is not Ishvara consciousness. Turiya is not a Virat consciousness. As such, it has been equated with the waker, etc. But I am saying, Turiya is not a Virat consciousness. Turiya is not a Hiranyagarbha consciousness. Turiya is not a Ishvara consciousness. Turiya is not. So then nothing is left. Means Turiya is no consciousness. No. Na aprajnam. Double negative. Turiya is not non-consciousness. Then means what? What is left? Consciousness. Consciousness is left. Nothing else. So Turiya is not even non-consciousness. So Achetanatvam. Many philosophers believe Atma is Jada. Some people, that is Nayayika, Tarkikas, and our Mimamsakas also. Bhatt Mimamsaka says Atma is Chetana Jada. So basically, the Chetanamsha knows the Jada. So Atma is a Chetana Jada. Means Atma is one part is Chetanam, other part is Jada. Nayayika says in Atma the property of consciousness arises when it comes in contact with the mind. When mind resolves, like in deep sleep state, Atma is Jadam. And as the mind arises in a waking state, and definitely Atma gains a sanyoga, contact with the mind, and a property of a consciousness arises in this inert Atma. So that is, these are, so various philosophers, even though they are all Vedikas, Mimamsaka also, and were Nayayikas, accept Veda as a pramana, but they don't know what it really means. What a Veda talks about Atma, somehow they are missing. So this is also negated. Atma is not even non-consciousness, means Atma is consciousness. It is just Chaitanya. So what is left out after final negation is pure consciousness, Chaitanya. So there is no question of Shunyam. What obtains in Shunyam, what obtains in absence, what obtains in a state after all negation is the very negator, which cannot be negated. Negator can never be negated. So if negator is negated, you need another negator and all that, anavastha. So what obtains in abhava, absence, is the consciousness which pervades the absence. Otherwise, how will there be a experience of a abhava? How will there be experience of abhava? It's experience, right? Experience of a sarva abhava. No? Then experiencer will remain. So basically, the truth of the abhava is consciousness, because the whole abhava is obtained in consciousness. That's it. So that's how in a silence of which we say the same thing. What obtains in a silence is consciousness. Otherwise, because there is an experience of silence, there is experience of silence. Then there is experience of silence without consciousness. So what obtains in silence is just consciousness. We'll talk about when Shantam etc. comes. What obtains in after all negation, well, sarva bhava, let's say, in a total absence, what obtains in total absence is the very consciousness, the very negator, etc. Who has an experience of that. Anyway, so there is no question of shunyam. That was a Purva-paksha, if you know very well. Earlier it was. Anyway, Bhashyakara says further, on page number 52, first line. Katham punaha antapragnatvadinam atmani gamyamananam rajvadau sarpadivat pratishedhat asatvam gamyate iti uchyate. So, it's a Purva-paksha. The Purva-paksha is like this. Katham punaha antapragnatvadinam asatvam gamyate. This antapragna, the dreamer consciousness, right? The dreamer, let's say. Dreamer, waker, etc. Asatvam. You are negating, means they are asatvam. They are not there really. Yeah, they are not there. How? Atmani gamyamananam. So basically, Rajvadau Sarpadivat Sattvam. Just as, well, basically, this Rajvadau Sarpadivat, on the snake, on the rope, etc., on the rope, Sarpadivat, Sarpa, etc., the Bhut, Shidra, and Mala, and whatever. So, Sarpadivat Pratishedhat, you negate this Sarpa or Mala or even a streak of water, etc., etc. So, you negate on Rajju because it is Adhyasa, Asatvam, Pratishedhat, Asatvam. So, basically, you are able to negate. That means they are not there at all. So, that is fine. That is true. But katham antapragnyatvadinam asatvam katham? Because basically, the different forms of this consciousness, Vikar consciousness, dream consciousness, all these are pramana siddha. Sakshi pratyaksha, right? Sakshi proves, I am a waker. How do you know I am a waker? Oh, I know I am a waker. Wow, it is a witness consciousness. So through witness, you prove this waker consciousness, dream consciousness, dead consciousness, all are proven by the this witness. So it is a pramana siddha, sakshi pratyaksha, not indriya pratyaksha. Definitely, waker is not indriya pratyaksha. Waking world is indriya pratyaksha. Waker is a sakshi pratyaksha, right? And therefore, waker, dreamer, deep sleeper, or all consciousness, waker consciousness, etc., are pramana siddha. Anything which is pramana siddha cannot be negated. Otherwise, there will be no vyavastha. Like your eyes reveal, this is a orange color, right? Through your eyes, pramana, which is pramana for what? For seeing forms and colors and all. Now, there is an orange color. Eyes have revealed to you that this is an orange shirt, jabba. No, it has been negated. How can you negate? What is pramana siddha? You cannot negate it. So, antapragnyatvadinam asatvam katham? Our Purupakshi says. And for a sakshi, everything is pratyaksha. Anumana is pratyaksha. So, waker, dreamer, etc. all are pratyaksha. Every pratyaksha, even a pratyaksha is a pratyaksha. Even indriya pratyaksha also is ultimately sakshi pratyaksha. You know very well. So, then because a sakshi is very much necessary to illumine any conclusion, etc. So how can it be a non-existent like Rajju Sarpa? There you negate, that is fine, and because it is not there. And these are pramana siddha. How can you call it as even mithya? So Siddhanti says, well, pramana siddha means it should be abaditam. It should be abaditam. It should not have any vyabhichara at all. For Atma, well, there should be no vyabhichara. Even though antapragnatvadi is a sakshi pratyaksha, at the same time vyabhichara is there. Vyabhichara means a change, etc. is there. And therefore you give this, a pramana siddhatvat, a argument, pramana siddhatvat, it cannot be mithya, it cannot be negated, etc., etc. Well, in case of Vrajju Sarpa, that is fine, even though your eyes see that it is Sarpa, suppose, but really speaking, it is not. So you can negate. Eyes, even though your eyes reveal it, that it's a Sarpa. Well, you can negate it because it is not there. But here it is not. It's everyone's experience. I am a waker, I am a dreamer, etc. Well, proven by the Sakshi. And therefore, how can you negate it? So, our basically, this is in our Anubhava. Sakshi Pratyaksha means Sakshi Anubhava. Directly experienced by a Sakshi. That's fine. Anubhava is there. But basically, you have only experience of seeing yourself as a waker. Just because you are experiencing yourself as a waker, right? It has been revealed by Sakshi, and so you are experiencing directly waker, directly dreamer, experiencing directly through the Sakshi, through the witness you are. But basically, it's just an Anubhava. And so what is revealed in Anubhava need not be true. Need not. Just because you experience a rope snake and you say this is a snake, need not be true. And therefore, you have only experience of seeing yourself as a waker, and that is not a pramana. If the waking state never changes, avyabhichara, never changes, that would be one thing. But you are waker only for some time. Right? Means I am waker, should not be negated because it's a direct experience by everyone. And it is unlike Rajju Sarpa. Yeah, that's true. Then if you are a waker, you should be waker all the time. But now same I is connected to dreamer. And that is all. And these two cannot be together. Waker, dreamer. I am waker and dreamer. No. Waker should go. So therefore, if waker goes away, then definitely it is like Rajju Sarpa. Even though you have an experience of a Sarpa, but on analysis you find that there is no Sarpa, Sarpa goes away, then this is also same. You say I am a waker, you cannot negate it. It's a direct experience. By a witness you are. Therefore, you cannot negate it. Unlike Rajju Sarpa. It is like Rajju Sarpa. It is a Vabhichara. Changing. I am basically a waker is negated by I am dreamer. Or I am a deep sleeper. Even though you don't say, but you have an experience yourself as a deep sleeper. And even in a waking state also, if you don't remain constant. Right now you are a Shrota as a waker. Right? You are a hearer. And then you are a seer also, and you are a runner also, waker, eater also, and all that. So even a waking state also keeps changing. Waker keeps changing. Vabhichara. And therefore, basically the properties mentioned, etc., only they keep changing. So Purvapakshi says Rajju Sarpadi Nam. There you see a change because that Sarpa goes away, etc. A Pramana Virodha is there, and now it just goes away, and therefore, we cannot equate with that. But here also it is a same thing. Waker is negated, like the Sarpa is negated, and therefore you say Sarpa is Mithya because it is negated. So same way Waker also is negated. And now dreamer comes, then deep sleeper comes, and in waker also, the right now a hearer, etc., will be negated. Or earlier what you were is negated now. Earlier, suppose you did a breakfast before this class, so you were eater. So it has been negated now by this hearer. So therefore, just because you experience something, therefore you cannot negate it. Pratyaksha means anubhava. Direct experience. Therefore, it should not be negated. That's not the case. We experience thousands of things in the world, but they are not true. In fact, the contrary is true. Now you experience a sunrise directly. There it is a Indriya Pratyaksha. It is ultimately witness only, but anyway, let's say Indriya Pratyaksha. Everyone in the billions of people experience that there is a sunrise, right? And therefore, how can you negate? It's revealed by pramana, eyes. You cannot negate which is revealed by pramana, pramana siddha. Even it is pramana siddha, anubhava siddha, pratyaksha anubhava siddha. Pratyaksha pramana means anubhava. It is still negated. Okay? On analysis. Same thing is here. So, Sarpadivat Pratishedat Asatvam. So, Antapragnatvadinam Atmani Asatvam. Well, we say that's not that is true, that they are not there. So, don't say that, just as Sarpas, etc., are negated. So, here in a waking state only you gain this knowledge. I am not waker, I am a Sakshi, etc., and Turiya. But then you still continue to remain as a waker. You cannot equate with the Rajju Sarpa now. You say Sarpa, on analysis, it totally goes away and only Rajju remains. Same way, in a waking state, suppose you are equating with a Rajju Sarpa. So, in a waking state, you are gaining knowledge from a teacher like you, and you say you are not a waker, you are just a Sakshi, Turiya, you are Brahman. Then, but waker doesn't go away. I analyze Atma and I discovered that I am not a waker. I'm Turiya. Fine. But then, like Sarpa, this also should go away. Waker should go away. It doesn't go away. Therefore, you are not able to satisfy us. So basically, Siddhanta says, there is a logical upadhi here. There are two types of adhyasa. One is a arthadhyasa. Another is a jnanadhyasa. The discussion is there in Vicharsagara, very beautifully explained these two types of adhyasa. I don't find anywhere else, maybe somewhere else I am not aware of. But in a Vichara very beautiful discussion. Arthadhyasa, Jnanadhyasa. So Arthadhyasa means there is like a Rajju Sarpa, where the Rajju is mistaken as a snake. One object is mistaken as another object. And when the real object is understood, like a rope, etc., the superimposed snake goes away, totally goes away. So it is one type of adhyasa. It totally resolves. So here, in the case of this waker and dreamer and all, they are adhyasa, right? That's how they are negated. They are simply adhyasa mithya. Therefore, they are negated. Turiya is a satyam, because Turiya basically remains I as a Turiya. Just consciousness is inherent, is invariable. In a waker also consciousness is there, in dreamer consciousness is there, in deep sleep consciousness is there. So basically the consciousness doesn't go away, invariable. Therefore it is satyam. And this waker etc. just go away. They constantly change also. And therefore that is not satyam. Therefore you are negating, that's fine. And this waker etc. are superimposed upon, that's how they are negated. Like sarpa you negate, same way waker etc. are superimposed upon consciousness. So this adhyasa is different from that rajju sarpa. So when one object is misunderstood as another, and when your real object is understood, then the superimposed will literally go away. Whereas in case of a waker etc., which are also superimposed upon the self, the consciousness, turiya, that has been negated in the seventh mantra. But here it is not a arthadhyasa. It is called a jnanadhyasa. You cannot do anything about it. So because this is a part of the Ishvara Srishti, these all various states etc., the waker, dreamer etc. is a part of Ishvara Srishti. And therefore it is jnanadhyasa, means in your understanding, in your knowledge alone there is adhyasa. Means your knowledge is not a correct knowledge. It's a misunderstanding about yourself. So waker is Atma, that is true. That's why Shastra points out a Chatushpat, Soyam Atma Chatushpat. So in waker what pervades is Atma. In dreamer, waker and Virat both you have to take, Vishwa Virat both. So that's how there's a Prathama Pada, Atmana Prathama Pada, then Atmana Dvitiya Pada, that is Tejasa and Hiranyagarbha etc. And then Tritiya Pada is Prajna or Ishvara etc. And then this is Turiya is fourth, Chaturiya, fourth. So basically waker is Atma, dreamer is Atma, deep sleeper is Atma. But Atma is basically distinct from, I explained you, Atma is distinct in nature from all this. Atma is not waker. Waker is Atma, that's fine. That's the truth. That is how the definition of the Atma is. Atma means Sarvam Apnoti, which pervades everything. Well, which is obtained in everything. Well, as one non-dual entity. And that is the truth of everything, waker and everything. Or Vishwa, or Virat, etc. So that's how Shastra points at Chatushpat. But the status of a wakerness is superimposition upon Atma. And that adhyasa is your error in recognizing Atma. That adhyasa. So that is jnana adhyasa. So jnanam eva adhyasa. Jnanam means basically it's your understanding, it's your misunderstanding, or it's your error rather. It's your error that I am waker. Bas, that should go away, which is there born of ajnanam, which is upadhi of the jiva, individual. That is how you take yourself to be the waker, etc. So basically you are Atma which pervades waker, dreamer, everything. Therefore waker is Atma, dreamer is Atma, that is fine. But you say I am waker, so that you commit what is superimposed, you commit as just yourself in reality. So that kind of a jnanam, that kind of a error is there. That error goes away when you understand you are a Turiya. That adhyasa, with a misunderstanding in you about yourself, just goes away. Not the waker goes away. Not waker goes away, not dreamer goes away. Okay? And therefore it is unlike Rajju Sarpa. There one object is misunderstood as other. Here an object is not misunderstood as other. It's in your, basically waker etc. will remain. But you are, in reality you are Turiya. But you commit a mistake because Vakar basically is Atma. Vakar is non-separate from you, the Turiya. You pervade entire waking state, Vakar and waking world. You pervade entire dream world and dreamer also. You pervade the deep sleep state, the deep sleeper also. So therefore, basically you pervade everything, but you commit a mistake of taking them, what is superimposed, you taking this as a yourself. That error is, this is, that is called jnanam here. Jnanam eva adhyasa means this type of error you commit, that what is superimposed you take it as yourself. So that is resolved, that adhyasa resolves by true knowledge of this turiya, which is been described in the seventh mantra. So the waker, dreamer, deep sleeper, all will remain. The ahankara will remain as a badhita. It will remain. So therefore they become mithya. In your understanding now they become mithya because superimposed. Therefore they become mithya for you. So you won't commit taking yourself, now you won't commit this error that I am a waker. You may say, because waker is there, and as a ahankara, as a badhita ahankara, as a mithya ahankara, well, vyavahara continues, and prarabdha also is experienced in terms of sukha dukkha through ahankara, etc. So that will continue. Ishwara, this is called Ishwara Srushti, that continues. But because of the being a individual and your upadhi being ajnanam, Veshti Upadhi Ajnanam, Veshti Ajnanam, the adhyasa was there, that what is superimposed is taken as a real, and taking yourself as a dreamer, waker, etc. Well, that adhyasa goes away. So simply, this is called a jnana adhyasa. So here the adhyasa is your error in recognizing the Atma, and it is jnana adhyasa, not arthadhyasa. So antaprajna, bahishprajna, ityadi upadhis continue to remain. That's how Jivan Mukta is there. And he has these three states again. Jivan Mukta also has a waking state, dream state, and he also sleeps. And therefore, just Ishwara Srushti continues. That was purely Jiva Srushti. Rajju Sarpa, Arthadhyasa. So one object is taken as another. So even after understanding Atma clearly, Turiya, well, that Atma is not Vakar, etc. Being a Ishwara Srushti, only Jnanadhyasa goes away, which is in your head. Error in recognizing the Atma goes away. Bhashyakara says further, in that page 52 only, second line, Jnaswarupa avisheshe api iteretara vyabhicharat rajvadau iva सर्पधारादि विकल्पित भेदवत् सर्वत्र अव्यभिचारात् ज्ञस्वरूपस्य सत्यत्वम्. So that has been said, antapragnatwadi, adi padat bahishpragnatvam, ghanapragnatvam, pragnana ghana, etc. So antapragnatwadi asatyam vyabhicharat sarpavat, right? That has been said, Vabhicharat. The simple hetu is Vabhicharat. Pramana Siddhat, well, na asatvam. Just because they are revealed by Sakshi and Sakshi Pratyaksha, witness perception. Therefore, they cannot be called they cannot be called asatvam, they cannot be called mithya, etc. What is Pramana Siddha cannot be mithya, etc., etc. No. So, Vabhicharat. Simple example. Sarpavat, again. If Sarpa is there, then Sarpa should remain all the time. Just on analysis, Sarpa disappears. That's called Vyabhichara. So same way here also Vakar goes away, dreamer comes, dreamer goes away, etc. In Vakar also continuous Vyabhichara is there. So Antapragnatwadi asatyam atmani gamyamanana. So that part is left. Even though they are recognized in the Atma. Atmani gamyamananam. Atmani gneyamananam. Here, gam dhatu means in some terms of, I told you, any dhatu in the sense of a gati, going, also is in the sense of a knowing. Anyway, so Atmani gamyamananam, even though they are recognized in the Atma, all this Vakar, etc. Well, what is truth is just the consciousness, nothing else. The Visheshas are basically mithyas because these attributes are not intrinsic. Vyabhichara is there. They are not intrinsic. They are incidental. So Vakar consciousness, the consciousness which is qualified by the Vakarhood is Vyabhichari. Vyabhichara means it is changing. So if it is incidental. If it is incidental, knowing it is incidental, it is negated. Not that Swamiji now it is incidental and therefore I want to negate it. No. Being incidental, it is negated already. Anything incident, like pot is an incidental attribute to the clay. Right? Pot is an incidental attribute to the clay. You need not negate. If you say it is incidental, pot is negated. I am negating incidental attribute. I am negating the Vakar, etc. Now I know they are incidental, therefore I am negating. Need not. Incidental means incidental. Anything which is incidental is not inherent in that substance. So Atma is Atma. Atma, this qualified Atmas, etc., I mean the qualifications in terms of Vakarhood, Dreamerhood, etc., they are incidental. They are all the time changing. So when you dream well, this Bahish Pragnatvam is Vyabhicharati, it is gone. So when that is why when the Shastra talks about negation, it made sure that we say it made sure that we don't say this Ayam Atma Turiyaha, na Vishwaha, na Hiranyagarbha, na Virat, etc. They are purely names of the changing states given by the Shastra. If you just say they are changing, that's it. You need not have to negate it. Say that they are changing, they are Vyabhichari. That's it. That is enough. So these changing states are Antaprajna, Bahishprajna, etc. Being variable. The reality is Mithya. Automatically. Variable. Vyabhichara is there. Mithya. Not Satyam. So it is a clean setup. What is retained? Prajna is retained. Bahish Prajna. Antah Prajna. Ganah Prajna. This Ganah Prajna, Shruti does not use this word. Shruti uses Prajnana Gana. But then, Karikakara has used the word Ghana Prajna. Okay, and that is let's take that word. So we will have some common factor. Bahish Prajna, Antah Prajna, Ghana Prajna, and then Ubhayata Prajna, then Prajna, right? Then Aprajna. What is common? What doesn't vary? What is invariable? Prajna. In Bahish Prajna, Prajna is there. In Antah Prajna, Prajna is there. In Ubhayata Prajna, Prajna is there. In Gana Prajna, Prajna is there. In Prajna, Prajna is there. That's that in Sarvajnatvam also consciousness is Ishvara consciousness. And Aprajna, Prajna is there. And therefore, basically, so all this, the previous one, they are variable. Well, variable, incidental. Naturally. Variable means what? Right now there, afterwards not there. Or earlier not there, now there. Incident. Don't negate, need not. Incident. That's it. Mithya. What is incidental is Mithya. That's it. That's how pot and clay relationship. Pot is an incidental attribute of the clay. Right now it is there. It was not there before the pot was created. It was not there. That attribute was not there. Now it is there. Will not be there in future. So this is how it is. Same way. So this Vakar consciousness and all this dream consciousness and in between consciousness and deep sleeper consciousness, Ishvara consciousness, no consciousness, etc. Right? So in all that, what is common is consciousness, which doesn't vary, which is an invariable fact. So Bhashyakara says Gnya Swarupe. Bhashyakara Gnya Swarupa means to be more precise, Prajna, right? So Gnya Swarupa Avisheshepi. Vishesha, variable. Avishesha, common, invariable. Gnya Swarupa Avisheshepi. Itaretara Vyabhicharat Rajvadau Iva Sarpadharadi Vikalpita Bhedavat Sarvatra Avyabhicharat Gnya Swarupasya Sattvatvam. Look at that. Gnya Swarupasya Satyatvam. Prajna Swarupasya Satyatvam. Now Swarupasya a Satyatvam, in better, if you want to understand, in Bhashan this thing will be always there. What you have to do is, you have to remove Tvam and you have to remove the Sashti Vibhakti from the previous word. So Sarupasya, remove that Shashti Vibhakti. Sya. So Sarupam. And here Satyatvam, you remove Tvam. Satyam. So Gnaswarupam Satyam. Gnaswarupam Satyam. Pragnaswarupam Satyam. The consciousness is a reality because it is invariable. Okay. And the example he gives here is a Rajvado Iva. Iva means example. Rajvado Sarpadharadi Vikalpita Bhedavat Vyabhichara. So, Rajvado. Rajju is a Avishesha, common factor. And on that, what are the Vikalpas? Sarpadharadi. Sarpa, then Dhara, streak of water. Then what? Danda. Then what? Mala. Then what? Cable. Whatever, in all this, right? Either a snake, stick, water, or garland, or a piece of cable, in all that, what is common? Rajju. Rajju is common, without which neither of this you will experience. Neither of this. If Rajju itself is not there, where is the experience of a snake? If Rajju is not there, where is the experience of a cable? Okay? And therefore, basically, sometimes you take a rope as a cable. I did it, I think I told you once. Here or in a Gujarati class, I don't remember, but I experienced like that. A piece of cable. They change the cables between the poles, and sometimes they cut the cables. And they cut the piece of the cable which is cut. They leave it. In India, they just leave it on the road. And so the cable, you see a cable, that's a knowledge. But sometimes a rope also, black rope, a rope which is very dark in color, you may take it as a cable. So I'm just giving you Vikalpas. So Sarpadharadi Vikalpita Bhedavat. All this Dvaita, Bhedavat. So example, Rajvadau, on the Rajju, basically Sarpadhara, etc. Vikalpas are there. So all these Vikalpas, they are all nothing but a mistaken objects, number of mistaken objects. And so basically, they are all Mithya. Same way Waker and Dreamer and Deep Sleeper, or in between and all that, or Ishvara, etc. All various Vedas. In a Jiva, or between Jiva and Ishvara, all these Vedas are there. Duality is there. All are Mithya. What is there in all is Prajna or Gnya, etc. Sarvatra Avyabhicharat, right? Which is, Avyabhicharat means basically being a invariable. Sarvatra, in all. Gnaswarupasya Satyatvam. Only difference here is, in example, rope is not self-evident. And Atma, well, basically is self-evident. That's a rope has to become evident. But once anything which is evident, on that a superimposition is possible. And if it is self-evident, it will be a sitting duck for all superimposition, because it is self-evident. And self-evident is there. Therefore, Swamiji, if anything which is self-evident, you need not know through pramana. It is because being self-evident. Pramana makes a given thing evident. Like eyes make the color evident, right? But you say self-evident means it doesn't need any pramana. If it doesn't need any pramana at all, then I would not commit any mistake also. I would not commit mistake. Suppose if my pramana has some defect, eyes has a defect, I may see a different color and maybe a mistake. But here what is self-evident need not, there will never be a mistake for that. But you say it's a universal mistake. Yeah, because there is a universal ignorance. Okay, what can I do? But how come ignorance has come? Ignorance has not come. Ignorance is beginningless. Ignorance is beginningless means ignorance is existent beginninglessly. Is it true? No. No, it is not true. Your meaning of the word anadi is not true. No, you say anadi means what? It is existent since beginningless time. No, beginningless means it is not there to begin with. Yeah, that's the thing. It is not there. Ajnanam is not there. If you say it exists, Atma also exists, anadi, because self-existent. And Ajnanam also exists, beginningless time. Means Ajnanam and Atma, both the things are existing from beginningless time. A beginningless means you talk about a beginning of a thing which is really existent. You can talk about a beginning of the pot, which is there. So far as an example. But Ajnanam basically is not a karyam. Ajnanam is not a karyam. If karyam is there like a pot, yes, it has a beginning. There must be a karana. But it is not a karyam. And if it is a karyam, if it is a effect, if it is created, then from what it is created? From what it is created? Ajnanam is created from Ajnanam? Or Ajnanam is created from Jnanam? How come Jnanam creates Ajnanam? I mean, it is beginningless means it doesn't exist to talk about its beginning. Could you follow? So, beginningless basically means it doesn't exist to talk about its beginning. And therefore, such a Ajnanam also being there is a self-evident Atma becomes a sitting duck for all mistakes to occur. And how many adhyasa? So much. Just take a waker as dhyasa. And once you say, I am a waker, right? Jnanadhyasa. And that is, afterwards in a waker also you do adhyasa. I am a human being, I am so and so, 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 I am so and so. Each individual. So it's a sitting duck for all forms of adhyasa. Then again in a dreamer, and etc. etc. Anyway. So between example, the Rajju and Atma, which is a common invariable factor, well, the thing is, rope has to become evident. Well, Atma is self-evident. And once it is evident, well, totally non-evident thing cannot become the locus for a mistake. Well, evident, but not truly evident, means not truly known, then can become a locus for mistake. So in all situations, even in Ishwar Sushti also, Sarvajnatvam, but Swamiji, you said this one is a Vibhichara, right? You say waker goes away and dreamer comes, and therefore, but the consciousness doesn't go away. So it's an invariable, that is Satyam and everything. But we would like to know, you say Ishvara consciousness also is Mithya. So there Sarvajnatvam, how can it is Vibhichara? Sarvajnatvam, the omniscience of the Lord, is Vibhichara, it goes away from Ishvara. How can you say that? Okay, waker, it's my experience that, the wakerhood goes away, then dreamerhood comes, or in a wakerhood also there is a change. In Sarvajnatam, what is the change? What is the change? There is no change. Oh, Ishvara is Sarvajna, then he become Alpajna. Now again becomes Sarvajna. So that Vibhichara is there, then you can call it as a Mithya. How can you call Ishvara consciousness as Mithya? And in that means Sarvajnatam etc. is Mithya. Consciousness is reality, but Sarvajnatam etc. is Mithya. How can you say? In a pralaya, in a state of resolution, what is Sarvajnatvam? Sarvajnatam, Sarveshwaratvam, etc. All this Antaryamitvam, all these are there when the creation is there. So with respect to creation, well, we call creator, and creator has all knowledge. Ghatasya karta ghatagnyah, sarvasya karta sarvagnyah. Right? Ghatasya karta ghatagnyah. One who makes the pot, well, he has a knowledge of the pot. One who makes everything has a knowledge of everything. That's fine. So with respect to creation, we say that. In a time of resolution, where is Sarvajñatvam and Sarveshwaratvam? We don't say Ishvara doesn't go away. Ishvara means, well, with Maya Upadi, with Mithya Upadi, well, it is in a state of resolution. But where is Sarvajñatvam, etc., well, is not, that is with respect to the creation. Once the creation comes, well, Ishvara being the cause of everything, we say, well, Sarvajñatvam, etc. is, and that we negated in 6th mantra. I told you already, we negated. So anyway, so that way it is Vabhichara, etc. And as such also, through Maya only Sarvajñatvam, etc. Maya is a non-separate from the consciousness, Brahman. And therefore, basically, through Maya, if it is Sarvajñatvam is there, if Maya itself is a non-separate, it doesn't exist independent of Brahman, then Sarvajñatvam, etc. is not separate from Brahman. Means that way also it is Mithya. It is not independently existing, etc. Anyway, so and this Satyatvam is very important to prove that the order, etc., the Ishvaratvam, etc., is Mithya. And without recognizing the consciousness as Satyam, well, there is no way of establishing the reality of the world as Mithya. And without the reality of the world being Mithya, we cannot say, I am self of all. Right? You cannot say self of all. If you, the consciousness, the Turiya, is self of everything, then everything, every name and forms must be Mithya. So therefore we are negating Vakar consciousness, etc., to prove the Satyatvam of the Turiya, the witness, consciousness. But ultimately, after coming to that, we say the whole world also is Mithya. And consciousness, the Turiya, the Sakshi, which is Brahman, is the Adhishthanam for everything. That Brahman is being yourself. You are the self of everything. Without that Sarvatma Bhava, there is no moksha. If you are not everything, well, in that case, you are not a free self. Right? How can you say you are a free self? Free means what? No boundaries in terms of time, in terms of space, or in terms of other attributes. You do not have any kind of limitations of a time, space, or attributes. Then you are a free self. That's called moksha. That means what? Well, definitely you pervade everything, right? Everything being mithya. You are the very adhishthanam of everything. That is, that's how this karanakari prakriya is. That's how Pujya Swamiji always used to say. Karanakari prakriya is a bread and butter for us. Because karanakari prakriya ultimately proves the karya being mithya. And karana alone pervades the karya. Karana is a satyam, karyam is mithya, etc. Therefore, karana means ultimate karana is this vivarta. Consciousness which lends existence to everything, which is turiya, which is available in your own states of experience as an invariable factor. So don't commit this jnana adhyasa, don't commit this mistake of taking yourself as just waker or a dreamer or a deep sleeper, etc. Then, well, further it says in Bhashyam, Sushupte vyabhicharati iti chet na sushuptasya anubhuyamanatvat. Purvapakshi says, you said Jnaswarupam Satyam. Consciousness is invariable, non-negatable, abadhitam, Satyam. You said. But no. This Jnaswarupa, the consciousness also is a variable factor in a Turiya. There is a state of experience where Atma is not consciousness. And therefore you cannot call this Jnaswarupam invariably present in everything and it cannot be negated and all that and Satyam. No. Consciousness is not there in a deep sleep state. So Sushupte Vibhicharati. Iti. That's a Purvapaksha. Sushupte Vyabhicharati. In Sushupti Avastha, it is changing. Means it doesn't remain consciousness. Iti, Chet. If you say, so Siddhanti says, if you say that in deep sleep state there is no consciousness, no, that's not true. Sushuptasya anubhuyamanatvat. So, and I again tell you, So Shushuptasya Anubhuyamanatvat means remove that tvat. And from Shushuptasya removes sya, Shashti. Sushuptaha Anubhuyamana. That is that's a sentence. Anyway, so we'll see this now. So I mean this particular part, it's little longer discussion. I will take it on Wednesday. Om Purnamadav Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Harihi Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Harihi Om.